Yeah. I think the last time I was on screen I was crying. Oh my god. I feel weird. Like, I feel like out of my element again because it's been a little while since I've filmed. It's been a little while. I'll give you some life updates. I'm a college graduate now. I have my bachelor's degrees, so that's something. I don't feel any different, especially since I had like a virtual commencement, which sucked. But I'm done college for right now. I'll probably go back, but it's very weird. I don't feel like I'm a college graduate. I don't feel like an adult. I'll probably never feel like an adult, and I know that. That's probably common, but that's how I'm feeling. But yeah, this video is gonna be, it's sort of a story time, kind of. I'm pretty sure I know what I titled this video, so I hope people stay kind of excited for it, because it's gonna be, I don't know, it's weird. Because I'm into paranormal stuff, obviously, but I never really captured anything myself. I still can't quite confirm what I captured, but I will explain. The only time I thought I had something paranormal happen to me was my Eastern State Penitentiary video back, I think that was 2018, and a whistling was on camera that we didn't hear at the time. I mean, Eastern State is kind of open air. There's a lot of places where the walls are caved in, so it really could have been anything, but this one is weird. I guess I'll just explain. So I ended my spring semester May 11th of 2021, and me and my best friend, we've known each other since we were sophomores in high school. We've been planning a road trip for like 5 years and had just never had the chance to take it. But everything lined up perfectly. I just graduated, he put in his 2 weeks at work, so we had a lot of time to just go. So we decided to just finally take our road trip. So we were gonna go to Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, Cattersport, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh. Then we wanted to go down to Point Pleasant, West Virginia, where Mothman is at, like the Mothman statue. Then we went to Shenandoah National Park in Virginia, and then we're gonna come back up to Gettysburg and then back to Philadelphia, which is where we are based. We do all this cool stuff. I'll put pictures every so often of some of the places that we're at. I think Pittsburgh was one of the coolest places I had ever gone. I had never been to the city before. Did not realize how far away it was. Definitely gonna go back there. They have a lot of cool art and like writing culture over there. So I think I might have to go and like spend a semester's worth of time over there, like writing in residence or something, because it was really, really cool. But we decided to plan this trip as like all of the little cryptid type of things that we were really interested in, which is why we went to the Mothman Museum, we went to Jim Thorpe. Like the big thing that we really wanted to do was Gettysburg, because we'd both talked about going for so long and just had never had the chance. And we finally had the chance to go by ourselves, so we had like full control over what we wanted to do, where we wanted to stay, so we were all set. We get into Gettysburg, it's probably around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so we eat, and we decide while we're eating that we wanted to do some of the ghost things that night, because we would be driving back the next afternoon, so we wouldn't be spending 2 nights in Gettysburg, just the one, because we were kind of doing like 1 day in each spot. So we do this walking tour to kind of get a feel for Gettysburg, because neither of us had actually ever gone before, so I didn't really know the layout of the town. I just knew that it was historical. I knew they had a lot of cemeteries there, and obviously the battlefields, which are like the big places that a lot of like paranormal enthusiasts like to go. So we go and do this tour. She takes us around. It's sort of like a romanticized version, but we got to see some of like the most haunted spots. We didn't really see anything there, but it was cool as like a historical aspect, because we got to see like all the old buildings, because I don't know if you've ever been to Gettysburg yourself, but they have like the modern buildings like right in between like the old buildings, because they try to preserve as much as possible. So I got to pass by like a place where somebody died inside the building, and like his like lover like would go there all the time, and like you were supposed to like be able to see him in the windows, or like crying, like kind of like kitschy ghost stuff. And I thought it was cool, thought it was kind of cute, but we were really waiting for it to become nighttime because we wanted to go to the battlefields like super late, like when it was completely dark, and just kind of, not like ghost hunt, but like walk around, see if we could hear anything or see anything ourselves. I was taking a lot of pictures just generally because I wanted to capture a lot of our trip, but I was like saving up my camera roll for Gettysburg because I wanted to take as many pictures of the battlefields as possible. So it's getting pretty late. It was still getting like dark kind of early back in May. So it was around 7 o'clock and it was already pretty dark. So we start in the cemetery. Now, the Gettysburg cemeteries are set up, not weirdly, but different to some of like other national type of cemeteries. So like they have the modern soldiers who've passed away in like Iraq and Afghanistan. They're towards like the front end of the national cemetery, and then a lot of the older ones from like the actual like Civil War are towards the back. So we decided to go straight towards the back because those are the ones that are also closer to the actual battlefields because it's like parallel across the street. So we're walking through there, we're kind of getting like that mood of like, oh, this is getting dark, it's a little creepy. So we get to the spot that is the memorial for where Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address. It's like this really big tower, like a tower monument with like probably Lady Liberty. It's not like the Statue of Liberty, but it's like a female figure as a statue. It could be Justice or something, I can't exactly remember. And it's got like this big long stone circle around it. So we were kind of walking around, me and my friend, on opposite sides, and it's getting dark, the wind's picking up, we're like really into the whole vibe. And we were definitely trying to be respectful too, because it's a cemetery, it was getting dark, there was a lot of like teenage noise around. There's like groups of teenagers walking around the road, and they were like bringing up a lot of noise. And in the cemetery, I was taking some voice memos as EVPs. And it was kind of stupid, but I didn't catch anything on them. So we get like that big vibe in the cemetery, and we wait in there until it's getting dark.
It's so dark.
So it gets dark, and we decide to cross the road and go into the cemetery part. I don't know which part of the cemetery this is at, but there's a lot of monuments over here. So there's already like these creepy statues right here, but this is like a grassy part. It's not paved over here just yet, but we do find where that area is. So me and my friend, we walk across the street. I'm looking at the battlements and the little plaques that tell you like what day of the Gettysburg part of the war, like what happened that specific day in this specific area, which is like, they're all over Gettysburg because the main road of Gettysburg, like through the town, was, according to the walking tour that we went on, that was like no man's land, which is insane that there's just like towns and like an ice cream and like a gas station right there, when that was like, you could not go there without getting like sniped down during the battle. Like, it's very weird walking through a place that you know like people have died at, which is like, yeah, you're probably, I'm pretty sure everywhere a person goes, somebody's died right around there, but it's a little different when like you're walking through where a battle took place not that long ago. Like, I mean, yeah, it's kind of, oh my god, I can't do math. Like, it's over 150 years, I think. And like, that's not a whole lot of time considering, you know, the grand scheme of things. It's a very, very emotional experience, I would say. I felt very tearful the entire time I was in Gettysburg because I was just surrounded by all this history and where so many people died. And it's like, you can't really help but get emotional when you're like in the middle of it. We're on the battlefield side. I'm looking at the battlements, I'm like touching everything that I can because I get really interested in like touching old history. So I'm like touching all of the monuments, like gently, and I'm touching the plaques and the wooden battlements, and like it's pitch black by this point. There's like a little bit of street lamps coming from like the town side, but once you hit the battlefields, there's not really like just standard street lights. There's like maybe one like a mile down the road. And then on the other side of the battlefields, is where like the houses pick back up, but like on the actual battlefield the light doesn't reach there, so it's like pitch black. There was like a tiny bit of light in the sky because it was like a full moon, so it was like enough to illuminate where like the monuments were scattered across the field, but you couldn't see anything in detail. They were just like black shadows until you like got over to them and you could like see the details. So me and my friend were splitting off just slightly because he wanted to look at something else and I wanted to go to this statue thing or whatever. I'm already a little jumpy because as much as I like ghost things, I don't get the chance to go to these places a lot. I usually have to like live vicariously through like urbex videos or like ghost adventures, which is one reason why I wanted to go to Gettysburg, was because Ghost Adventures got to go and I wanted to like see things that they had seen. Y'all know how much I love Ghost Adventures. Like, they went to the Jenny Wade house in their episode. I went to the Jenny Wade house. They have on display, one, they have the original door where the bullet hole came through. It hit through 2 doors and killed this girl during the battle. Like, she's the only civilian casualty in all of like the war, I think. Or maybe just the Gettysburg parts of the war, but oh my god, like, that's the original door. Like, I touched it. Like, me and my friend, because of COVID and everything, they can't have like bigger tours. So it was me and my friend alone in this place. Like, no tour guide. Like, it's a guided tour that you do yourself. It is, one, it's heartbreaking, but I'll start crying like right now just thinking about it. Like, I'm touching the door that a bullet went through and killed somebody, and I'm looking at it. Like, I can't describe how it made me feel. Not only that, you go upstairs to where, I don't know if it was a cannonball or if it was like a big artillery shell, but it was like shot through the house and it broke a dividing wall, because like 2 families lived in the house and then it was divided in the center. So like a shell hit the house and broke like a hole in the wall, and then in order for them to get like the rest of the Wade house family members out of there, they had to break down the rest of the wall, go out the other side of the house like the other family lived in, and then go into their basement area to stay for the rest of the battle. And that's also where they took Jenny Wade's body. And they have like a little diorama set up down there where I don't know if you've ever seen like the Gettysburg episode of Ghost Adventures. I'll probably play like a quick clip right here, but it's like they have like a scene where they're in the basement area and like Zach is being a horny bitch and he like lays over like the mannequin that they have over a sheet to represent like Jenny Wade's body in like the basement area.
You get real mad if I lay over here?
It appeared my close proximity to the mannequin got us evidence with this possessive response.
You get real mad if I lay over here?
The basement area, terrifying. Like, it's, I'm so into history that when I get to be in like places where something so intense happened, I can like feel myself back in time almost. And I was just like so overwhelmed by emotion that I'm just like, I was like frozen just standing here. Like, they had to stay down in that basement for like another 24 hours, I think, but they had a dead body with them. And not only that, the dead body of like an 18-year-old girl. But on the same level where you see like the big hole in the wall that the family had to escape out of. They have like a display case that has like artifacts that were on the scene when like they got there, because some of the house isn't like gutted or anything, it's still furnished. I don't know how original everything is. I know that some of the beds and like the fabric is, but I think some of it had to be like historically restored, because I think having that house be like in the middle of the battlefield, it was hit like by bullets like a lot of times. I think you're given like a short I almost said lecture like a short contextual speech by some of the people who work there, and I feel like they said that the house was hit by like 300 bullets, including the one that killed Jenny Wade. And you can see them like on the outside of the building too, like, because you come in through like the kitchen door, which is the door that has the outside bullet hole that like pierced Jenny Wade, and like the door is like just riddled with bullet holes. Like, it's insane. So I don't know how original everything inside the house is. So I go to the display case and I'm just kind of looking around. They have a piece of the kitchen floor that Jenny died on that has her blood on it. It's insane. And then underneath that, they had the artillery piece that broke the wall. No kidding, it's like this big, this wide. It's massive. There is a reason that I majored in history, because even talking about it, it's been months, it's still on my mind. Like, it's insane. It's insane. Please go to Gettysburg, it's awesome. So yeah, like, I'm already a little jumpy. I'm trying to keep like a little bit of my anxiety on the down low, because I know that technically you're not really supposed to be on the battlefields at night unless you have permission, because, or like if you're with like a walking tour that goes through the place specifically at night. So we wanted to be careful that we weren't like disrupting things or like ruining a tour by like talking and screaming. Not that we would scream, but you know, we didn't want to be like annoying tourists. So I am starting to walk towards the statue, and I'll have to find a picture of it for you because it's ginormous and very, very surreal looking, especially when it's nighttime. So I'm walking towards it. It's a statue of a soldier on a horse, and I'm walking over to it, and I swear to God, it did not happen, but it freaked me out. I'm walking up to it, and I swear I saw like the head of the statue move. I know this did not happen. My eyes just made this up. It was an optical illusion. We were going from a light area to a dark area. My eyes had not adjusted, but I swear to God, I thought I saw the statue's head move. I froze. My anxiety peaked, and I was like calling for my friend because I freaked myself out in the middle of the dark. And at this point, we'd been out pretty much all day, so my phone was dying, so I was trying to save it for like when I wanted to take pictures at certain spots. So I didn't have my light on. So I was just kind of in the dark, kind of following the grass paths, because it's like kind of like downed areas of where like people create like their own trails. So I meet up with my friend. We find an area where it goes from the top of the hill down towards where the pavement starts to get towards, I'm guessing it's for like caretakers. And there's also driving tours where you can tour the battlefields in your car. So I'm assuming it's one of the pavement places where you can just kind of drive through. So we get down there and we decide that because it's gonna get even darker and even later, and it took about another 40 minutes to get back to the Airbnb that we were staying in. So we're like, let's just follow this path, slowly take it in, do whatever we want, and then we'll start heading back. So we get down there, we're on the pavement finally, so we're able to have like a specific path that we can follow. We're not having to worry about bugs crawling up our legs. So my friend, he has his phone, he's got a little bit of light going. I'm just kind of taking in the battlefield at night because I think it looks very, very cool. So it's kind of hard to describe the geography if you haven't seen it yourself, and also it was dark for me, so I don't know how accurate like the location was. But when you're on the pavement, you're kind of away from most of like the soldier type of statues, and then you get like the battalion markers, which tell you like which state and battalion number was in this spot during the Gettysburg portion of the Civil War. So we're walking along, we're reading all the little placards. We see a lot of North Carolina, New York. We were looking for New Jersey because that's where both of us are from, trying to see if maybe we recognize the names of any of the soldiers, because sometimes they're listed right on the marker. And all along we're walking up kind of towards the top of this hill area. So we have all of these battlements to our left, and then the roadside is to our right, but like the road's like a mile over. So we're walking in them. I'm following the battlements and everything because I'm assuming that they're connecting to the different parts of the battlefield that you're allowed to walk to. So I was following that more as a path. And there's a part where like the pavement stays, but then the battlements kind of go out perpendicular into like a box around a tree, and then it comes back to the road. And it was very dark over there. And the way that the tree was situated in the battlements kind of blocked the view behind it. And you couldn't really see around the other direction if you came in from the other side of the battlements. So I was like, well, this is a perfect time to go and freak yourself the out. So I had my friend wait in the road because it was tall grass and he didn't want to walk through it. And it was really muddy. But I was like, I just want to go to the other side of the battlements, touch it, and then come back. So I'm walking, I'm like sinking into the mud. It's like getting all on my legs. It was absolutely disgusting. I had like bug bites for like the next couple of days. I get to the other side of the battlement. this entire time, I'm expecting, like, by the time I get to the tree, there's gonna be, like, a Confederate soldier or something peek out, like, behind the tree at me, because it was that nerve-wracking intense by the time that we had gotten there. Like, I was fully expecting to see something because of how historical and well-known Gettysburg is. I was just like, there is no way that we're gonna leave this battlefield without seeing something. Like, it felt like we were going to prove the existence of Ghost here, and I was completely ready. And I kept telling my friend, like, if I see something, I'm running towards it. Like, I'm gonna be like a white person in a horror movie. I don't give a I'm going towards it, because I've spent my entire life wanting to see something. Unfortunately, this is not the spot where I see anything. I'm expecting to, so it feels like I'm preparing myself for a jump scare during a horror movie, like the way that my stomach feels. I get to the other side, I touch the battlement, I like feel the history, and then I'm like, all right, I gotta go back. So I get back to the road. So we're walking up and up and up. We stop occasionally and just take random pictures, but we don't really get any like other spooky stuff until we get to, it's like where the hill starts to increase in elevation. And at the very top, it's not too high up, but it's enough that you're kind of, you're straining backwards a little bit as you walk up. My friend is obviously a little freaked out because he's into ghost stuff, but not as much as I am. So I was kind of like going off my own a little bit to go and check things out while he stayed back a little bit. So we see like this monument like up top this hill, and it's got like little markers on the ground. Like they're very small, but they're like just high enough in the ground that you can see that there's something there. And there's like a whole bunch of them. A couple of them are like 2 feet tall, so you can kind of see them from far away. Mind you, it is very, very dark at this point. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like that bluish, like that dark blue sky at night, and then like everything is so dark, and like that dark green color to the trees. Like, it was very, very spooky. It was like one of the coolest experiences of my life. But I was getting freaked out. Like, I could feel myself kind of reaching my limit of what I could do. So we're walking around. I'm not quite getting up the hill because I'm a little scared. I can't see around the monument from down low, so I know that if I want to see everything up there, I had to go up there by myself with my camera and my like the little phone light. And I was kind of hedging a little bit. I was a little frightened, so I didn't go up there immediately. And I knew that my friend wasn't going to come with me. So it's like, if I wanted to go up and see, I had to go alone. And usually I'm like, oh, I'm brave. I'll just go do it real fast and then I'll come back down. But like by this point, I was kind of freaking out, and like in a fun way. Like, I wasn't having like a panic attack, but I was like, if I see something up there, it's going to scare the out of me, and then I'm going to run. But I'm like, you know what? How many times am I gonna have the chance to go to Gettysburg at night and like actively walk around this old historic place where like people died and people see ghosts? It's like, this is my chance to go and see something if I want to do something. I kind of like stuff my anxiety away, and I'm just like, just go up, go to the monument. You don't even have to go around it if you want. Just go up to the monument so you can see how it levels out, and then you can come back down. So I'm walking up, it goes from like grass to dirt, and I'm looking at all the markers. I get up to like the main big monument, and there's stuff kind of littered around the area. I wish I knew what it looked like in the daylight, but in the dark, I couldn't really tell exactly what these things were. But I assumed that they were just more markers. So I'm standing at the statue, like right near it. I keep looking back towards my friend to make sure that, I mean, he wouldn't have left me, but I was getting freaked out, so I kept looking back just to make sure that he was there. By this point, I have to turn my phone light on because I can't see anything. So I'm trying to like save my battery and only use the light. So I'm standing there, and off to like the left, I can see something far away, and it's kind of like child height almost, but it's got like a weird shape to it. It didn't look like a marker from far away. It had like more of like a curve to it rather than just like a straight piece of like a marble or something. And I can't tell what it is. Like, there's no detail to it. I can just see like the basic shape of it. And the amount of fear that like went up my spine was like crippling. Like, I freaked out. I could not tell what it was, but it looked vaguely humanoid shaped, and I was like, oh my god. So I'm like kind of ignoring it. And then there's like whatever that figure is, then there's a tree, and then like an open space where I now know is like a grassy area, but I couldn't quite tell. And then there was something over there that I couldn't tell. This thing was taller. It didn't have like a general shape to it. I could just tell that it was tall. And it also had like, I mean, I couldn't see the full shape from this far away, but it looked like a humanoid shape, so that freaked me out even more. So I'm just kind of standing there, breathing heavily, kind of hyperventilating, and I'm calling back to my friend, please just come up here. You don't have to go off further. I just need you up here because I want to see what these are, but I'm so freaked out. So I convince him to get up here by telling him that there's no tall grass, like just stand on the dirt with your flashlight, and I'm gonna take my flashlight and go off a little further now that you're a little closer. So I walk over to the smaller thing to the left of the tree. It's just memorial piece. Like it's like a granite type of marker. It had like a battalion thing on it. I can't remember exactly what it said. I didn't want to turn my flashlight off to take a picture of it because it was very dark. And then behind where like the placard was, the road continued, but it opened up even wider. And I had like this big mass of just space behind me, and I was too afraid to turn my light on. So I'm like, okay, well, if this is nothing, then the other thing must be nothing. But I wanted to go see it anyway. So I go to the other side of the tree. I just call back to my friend. I'll be like another minute or so. I'm just gonna walk over to whatever I see over here. And I'm walking slowly because I'm like, if my light hits this thing and it's like a soldier in a uniform that disappears in front of my eyes, I'm gonna shit myself. So I'm walking up. I kind of have the light aimed towards the ground because I'm freaking out. And I'm like lifting it slowly, like I'm ready to jump scare myself. It's like a fucking tall weed, like in the middle of like tall grass. And I am like laughing at myself that I got so freaked out by this thing. Like, that is just natural. I was like so upset with myself. It's like, I can't believe I freaked myself out looking at this thing that's just tall grass. So I'm kind of laughing it off. I go back to my friend, and we're pretty tired because we've been driving a lot that day and walking around, so we're like, all right, let's just follow the path until it turns back to the road, and we'll take some pictures on the way out, and then we'll just head back to where we parked and go back to the Airbnb. This is where we start taking the pictures. I'm kind of just like, since this is like the last time that we're gonna be on the battlefield for the night, and probably until I go back to Gettysburg, I'm just taking pictures constantly. I turn my flash on, and I take a picture, and like my friend is like motion blur running through it in like a bright yellow shirt, and I think it's really funny. And he's like laughing because he looks like a ghost. I'm like, oh well, this is probably the only thing I'm gonna see tonight. And I'm taking more pictures. I think I took another quiet like voice memo just to see if anything picked up as I was walking out. So I took like another handful of pictures. We head back to the road, find the car, drive home, and we go to sleep for the night. I don't really look at any of these pictures. Like, I look at them when we get back to the Airbnb. I'm not like magnifying anything and like getting closer looks. I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, like that looks cool. Like, if anything, these are just kind of like creepy photos. Like, even if there's nothing in them, they look cool. So our road trip ends like the next day. I go home and I'm like, I can't believe like I didn't catch anything there. Like, it was still a cool experience. Like, we were walking through a battlefield in the middle of the dark, freaking ourselves out. Like, it was cool. But I was kind of sad that I didn't catch anything. So I'm looking at my pictures again, and I'm like, now I'm like fully examining these, being like, come on, something, please just give me something. And I get to the photo where my friend is running through it, trying to get out of the frame. And it looks like there's something there, and I can't quite tell like what it is, so I'm like zooming in on it, and I'm like, what is this? Because it wasn't like a bug had gone through, because I know what those look like, and it wasn't foggy at all, so it wouldn't have been like the flash from my camera illuminating the fog in any way. And it was a little hazy at the bottom, but like it wasn't cold, and like the clouds hadn't settled, so it's not fog. And I could just see something, but I can't quite tell what it is. So I send the picture, nothing added to it, like just the original photo, to my friend. And I'm like, hey, like, I took this cool picture. Do you see anything in it or whatever? And he's like, I think I do, but I'm not sure. So I go back to the photo, and I do like that thing where you can draw on the picture. And I just kind of do like a quick circle around where I think I see something. Because I want to make sure that I'm not just like reading into something. I want to make sure that he is seeing what I'm seeing without me telling him, because I didn't want to lead him into what I think I see. And he's like, oh yeah, I kind of see something. And then like he's like typing and then it goes away. So I'm like assuming that he's like looking for an image or whatever. And I'm just like staring at this thing. And then I'm like, it clicks what I think it is. And it's like, oh my God, it looks like a hat, like just in the air. Like it looks like a hat with like some type of insignia on it. And it also kind of looks like a gun like next to it. And I'm like, please, I cannot be seeing this, because neither of us are wearing hats. So it's not my friend running through, like my friend is running through to the left, and the way that this thing is facing is like to the right. So it's not like my friend's motion blur catching in the middle as he's running. I'm like, what am I seeing? My friend texts me back and he's like, it looks like this. And he sends me a picture of like the Union Army, like their uniform. He sends me a picture of just the hats that they would wear. And it's like spot on what I think I saw in there. And I'm like, oh my God, so you see this too? Do you see the other thing? I didn't say gun. I was like, do you see like anything else here? Because I think I see something else. And he's like, yeah, it looks like he doesn't say gun either. And I'm like, all right, I just gotta say it. It looks like a musket, like the old-fashioned type of like the guns that they would have used during the Civil War, like not like a modern gun. Like it looks older. It looks like I took the two photos that he found and like photoshopped them into the picture. Like it's weirdly spot on, and I'm like, oh my God, like did I literally catch a finger? It's freaky. Like that to me looks like a Union hat and then a gun. And they're very close to each other in the thing, so I'm like thinking that I caught like the ghost of a soldier like facing this direction. It's probably gonna be mirrored actually, so facing this direction, hat here holding the gun like this, because it would be like that like perspective. It's weird. Please tell me that's not f***ing weird. Like I did not, like I took that picture. I don't know how to prove if something is like the raw image, like without any editing. So I'll probably do like a quick, I don't even know if it's on my phone anymore because I cleared my camera roll, but I moved it over to my computer first. I don't know. I'll pull up like the info of the picture on my computer and screen cap it, and I'll put it in the video. I did not touch this photo at all. The only time I put anything new into the photo is when I drew the lines around it so that my friend could see where I was looking. But what the f is this? Like, it looks like a soldier in my photo. Somebody needs to tell me that this is not weird, because I'm still kind of freaking out over it, and this was like months ago. What is it? I don't have like an explanation for it, and I like finding explanations for things, because as much as I like ghosts, I'm inherently a skeptic for it, because I need it to be real. I need to have an explanation for it. What is it? What is it? I don't even know how to explain that picture. If anybody can like give me a scientific explanation, I'll make like an updated video of this with like whatever comment or email or something, I don't know. But like, it's weird, right? Like, I'm not just, like, imagining things. There's, like, a ghost in my picture. I don't know. It's weird. That's all I can say. It's f***ing weird. Thank you for listening to me ramble for however long this video ends up being, because, oh my god, I needed to talk about it because I've had this video idea for a little while. I just hadn't had time until now to, like, sit down and film it. It was such a cool experience, and I just really wanted to, like, share this picture with you because it's, like, one of the only times I feel like I've ever caught something paranormal on video after, like, loving scary things for, like, my entire life. It's so cool. So, like, thank you for joining me and just sitting down and listening to me ramble, because I appreciate all of you who watch, who support me. It's awesome. I'm going to try to come back to YouTube. My issue is I have a full-time job now. And it starts in 9 days. So I'm gonna run out of time. I don't know how much more time I will have to do, like, a sit-down video like this one, because I like sitting down and just talking about a cool thing that happened. I really wanted this to be, like, the whole vibe of the channel, and then I started adding in, like, painting and everything, but, like, I want to come back and do stuff like this now that I have a little bit more mental stability than I did last time, considering how much I was crying the last time I was here. Who knows if I'll bring back my podcast. That takes a lot of effort to sit down and make. Takes a lot of ideas and research time, and I have to physically make a script each time, as opposed to a video like this where I can just kind of go off the cuff and make something fun without having to, like, write a script for a full week and then revise it. Please stick around. This is not the last time you will see me, hopefully. I'm always on Twitter. I'm always posting on there. I'm always posting on my Instagram. I'll make sure that I start adding my Instagram to my links. I'm kind of on Tumblr, but not posting, like, original posts. It's mostly just reblogging, but if you just like content like this, I reblog very similar things on Tumblr, so you can always check me out over there. I paused my Patreon for a while because I wasn't making anything, and I didn't want to charge people for, like, giving me nothing. For giving me things and I'm giving them nothing. But I'm going to be trying to bring that back, so if you want to support me on Patreon, like, that's a thing. You don't have to, obviously. I make pretty much everything free. The only thing that I do on Patreon is you get access to things a little earlier. If you're on, like, a higher tier, I like to shout people out in the, like, credits or, like, in the comments. I don't have a whole lot of patrons, unfortunately, so I don't do that yet, but I would like to. If you have any ideas for things that you want to see on my Patreon, you can always comment it, and I can make new tiers, I can rearrange things. I do have a lot of cool things on there. I have Patreon-only images of my sketchbook project that I did back in 2020. It's, like, close-up detail versions of it, as opposed to, like, crappy, like, blurred versions that I put on, like, Instagram for people to come and see on Patreon. So you'll be able to, like, unlock a whole lot of posts by pledging, like, any money to me, I believe. I think my lowest tier is, if it's not $1, it will be soon. I think it's at $3 right now. Just because it takes a lot of work for me to do the kind of content that I do, so I want to put value to, like, my creative endeavors. So, and I'm sure a lot of people can understand that if they're also, like, content creators. But yeah, so that's always there. Always come talk to me. Like, if you get me to start talking, I won't shut up, so you can come and talk to me. But again, just thank you for still being here and dealing with my my ups and downs and my moods and my struggles and everything. Because, I mean, last time I was on here crying that I didn't think I would finish school. I never met my teachers, and now I have my degree. I've met so many amazing people, like, people that I've only seen virtually, I got to meet in person, and it's just amazing at how far I've come, and I'm kind of proud of myself, and I'm working to be a better person, and I just hope that you can kind of follow me on this journey and see where it goes. But yeah, thank you so much. Leave a comment, leave a like, do whatever the hell you want, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Thanks.